think the journey that I have had as a creative, and I had a big job in a big agency and a big job in this other smaller agency, and the fact that I felt that whatever the industry had for me was not enough, the same feeling I have, a lot of good professionals have or have had. They left, they started their thing, or they're there and they're unhappy. So this is the talent pool. And then next to the talent pool, you have the clients. And you see a few different things happening with the clients. Either they are changing agencies in a frequency that they didn't used to have, or they're being extremely more aggressive with their agencies in their negotiations, be it the creative agencies or the media agencies, or some of them they're bringing the work of an agency in-house. So we're seeing the movement towards in-house agencies. And all of this is very fair and it's very just and it's okay. So this is the client side. And then you look at the media side and the platform through which we distribute the message. We have lots of new platforms. We have questions about whether these new platforms are ideal. And now we're questioning the new platforms because maybe they steal our data. Maybe they sell our data without asking us. Maybe they're not that cool. Maybe they're not that nice. Maybe they're creepy and they're tracking us, and maybe they help subvert elections. So this is our industry right now from a media point of view. From a media point of view, there's a crisis. From a client point of view, there's discomfort. From a talent point of view, there's no clear path to follow. And I think that when you try and put a project like this together, a program where you're going to get people from different industries and whether they are coming from a media agency or a consultancy or a creative agency or their clients. So you're bringing them in from different walks. You're bringing them in from different markets, which means there are markets where the crisis is more advanced. There are markets where the crisis is just coming. And you have them rethink the model. I think that's a very interesting proposition. And I think that splitting it in different modules and even in different cities where you have some people who follow the program, but you have new people coming in and inputting different stuff is also very interesting, because we are talking about something that is happening every day. There's an organic change, a continuous organic change. As hippie as that sounds, that's what's happening right now. It's very turbulent, and you cannot sail turbulent waters with one big boat. It's not the ideal. So you have lots of little boats, and some of them are sailboats and some of them are speedboats, and that's what you're doing here. So I think that that's a very interesting proposition, and I think the odds of success of at least finding a few different paths to follow, to experiment on and build the next proposition, I think the odds of success are huge. So on the questions of new opportunities for new agencies, new models, new ways of going into the creative industries, I see several. I think one interesting opportunity that I think I would never have said this 10 years ago, but today I fundamentally think that I was wrong 10 years ago. You know what? In-house agencies, not that bad idea. I think it's one of the things that we're missing right now when we go about executing creatively for brands, is to really, really know in depth the company. Because, remember everybody's talking about purpose right now? How do you know a company's purpose if you don't go deep into the company? It's because there's a company, and maybe this company has many brands, maybe this company is the brand, but unless you're really living it, it's very difficult to get that close to the purpose, to that mission. And I think that being an in-house resource, you might have a better chance at being honest to this purpose and producing really great messaging about this purpose. Another really cool opportunity is the rebirth of the need to understand design. There was a point where design became just this is design, and design is just something pretty. A lot of people confuse design with graphic design, but the discipline of design, the discipline of really understanding the human being, the communication that the human being, the interaction between the human being and the space around the human being. This is the essence of design, and I think that that's why a lot of design firms are now being called into big companies or medium companies to solve communications problems, whereas before you would think of them for, I don't know, an experience or furniture or packaging, and now they're actually talking about concepts and the messaging. And I think that this is very, very cool, and it's a cool opportunity. I also see an opportunity in understanding that working for other citizens, you know, having the community as your client doesn't necessarily mean working for the government anymore. And there's something so interesting about it. On one hand, because corporations are starting to do a government job. So now a corporation is the one that gives a city the public bicycle system, because the city cannot afford it. So they do a partnership with a company. For 10 years, it'll be your brand. And now that company is the one that gives us the bicycles. And isn't that interesting that a company who is supposed to be selling cars is now also giving public transport in the form of bicycles to people? So being the creative that can help a company exist within society, not in spite of society, is a really interesting job. Also because cities and neighborhoods are becoming their own entity, you know, and you could do something for your building, you could do something for your neighborhood. I mean, this neighborhood we're in Barcelona, 10 years ago, there was nothing here, you know, it was warehouses. And then the city changed the rules and said, you know, if creative industries come here, we're gonna help you, we're gonna incentivize it. So there's so many beautiful buildings and interesting companies around. So the people who live and work in this neighborhood are all somewhat creative. That means that they see ahead of the curve. That means that they will keep contributing to the development of the neighborhood. So the output of their work is civil, even though they're not working for the government. And I think that that's very interesting. And lastly, I think, and this is where my utopia comes in, but I really do think that because we are delegating more and more tasks to machines and systems, we will go back, hopefully, the creative minds. And it doesn't mean a creative as a job description. You could be a finance guy as long as you understand that you have creativity. I think we're gonna be more artistic.